From the Moravian mess, the sex scandal that rocked one of Jamaica's oldest denominations, to the suspension of a group of students over a raunchy social media challenge, Gleaner online users were clicking in and reading last year. We have reviewed the numbers and noted the rankings. I'm Damian Mitchell, and here now are your top 7 stories of 2017 based on your readership of the Gleaner online.
Welcome to Profile. I'm Ian Boyne.
Violet Moss Brown, the world's oldest person, has died at the age of 117 years. Moravian sex scandal deepens. Email trail reveals church knew of sex allegations against pastor. It was the story that exposed the worst controversy to have hit the church in Jamaica. The revelation that senior Moravian pastor Rupert Clark had a history of sexual misconduct, and the fact that the church leadership knew about it but did nothing meaningful.
Shame on those members of the church that actually knew.
Surprised me that that came as low as number 7. It really was a shake-up for the local religious community. What it did, it made questions of our religious leaders, and that has continued into the new year and will continue for some time.
People lose faith, people lose confidence. People rather kneel down on their bedside and pray.
It means that our church leaders will have to take back their flock, and that's going to be a difficult thing for them going into the new year.
7 children left without a mother. It was the 6th most read Gleaner online story of 2017. It detailed the dying words of 36-year-old Karen Piku to her daughter after a brutal attack on her near her Hampton Court home in St. Thomas.
As quoted by the Gleaner, just know me love you, and that sticks in the minds.
It was another example of the viciousness of the criminals that are operating within our society.
It looked like these men drink blood for tea.
It was a year that the death and murders and crime engulfed the country. And there were some that were very painful. That one in St. Thomas really hit home. The daughter who saw her mother dying, it was one of those. And it underscored for us what was an orgy of violence over the Jamaica for 2017.
Thinking about it again gave me chills. I know firsthand what it feels like to lose a mother. My mother was murdered 3 years ago, so I can imagine what those children are actually going through.
One of the things that I'm encouraged to see is that more persons are coming forward, more influential persons are coming forward to say that I want to be an informer. I want to be an informer. In other words, we're attacking the informer for death culture, which, in my view, will go a very far way in helping us to solve some of these murders.
In September, Duppy Flim killed by police in Port Morant. It was the 5th most read story of 2017, how the police caught up with Marlon Perry, culminating a lengthy hunt for the alleged cop killer.
There are not many gangsters who have taken their names have gone through Jamaica for some time, the way Duppy Flim did.
Yeah, the man was a human ghost.
He developed this persona that the police were afraid of him, the people in St. Thomas were afraid of him, and if the police had to capture Duppy Flim, as long as he remained on the run, he was taunting them. He was accused of killing 2 cops. He did develop this reputation that we have had for so many gangsters and criminals over the years. He had to get rid of Duppy Flim.
The sad thing, though, is that the police were not able to capitalize on the momentum, for want of a better word, gained from this kind of situation where they have taken out a wanted person. Why do I say that? It gives, in my view, it would give them a chance to go after, or it would provide a morale boost to go after gang leaders, criminals, persons who are involved in organized crime. And as you're aware, the police have said that gangs account for upwards of 70% of the murders in this country.
The death of Violet Moss Brown had Gleaner online readers engaged last year. The 117-year-old woman died days after she was removed from her home in Douanville, Trelawney, to a medical facility in Montego Bay, St. James, and it set off a family feud that continued up to the funeral.
I think she honestly died of a broken heart.
Moss Brown had captured the imaginations of Jamaicans.
She was a world record holder in the Guinness Book, so everybody wanted a piece of the spotlight. So you put her somewhere where she knew no one, and she died among strangers. Sad.
Her relatives, some wanted to have care and custody of Miss Brown. Other relatives wanted to have her in their care and custody.
The entire world were reading about us when she became the oldest person in the world. The circumstances surrounding her death was unfortunate, and even at the funeral, which was disrupted by her eldest son, who gave it to mourners, causing a break in the funeral while he chastised persons. So it was her death had captured, her life and death had captured the imagination of our readers.
The hospitalization and subsequent death of media giant Ian Anthony Boyne.
Welcome to Profile. I'm Ian Boyne. Feel the man.
His death certainly rocked the nation. Big loss to journalism.
Ian had established himself as on the local media. We would have had better journalists over the years, maybe, but what Ian had done, it become a staple. So we'd get calls on a Sunday when his column never appeared in the Sunday Gleaner. There were so many Jamaicans who grew up on Profile. I remember a friend of mine said, "You became a smaddy when you appeared on Profile." And that was what Ian Boyne represented, what was good in journalism in Jamaica.
His program, as you are well aware, has been part of our media landscape for decades. It's a very inspiring program.
I think that we've seen the end of Profile. I was at Radio Jamaica for the start of religious art talk on radio, and I saw that morphed into a television program that has held the interest of people. I would think that Profile is going to be retired at this time. I mean, I thought that School Challenge quiz would have been retired after Dennis Hall died, because School Challenge and Dennis Hall were hand in hand. But I don't think Profile can remain without a Ian.
The high school ranking of Jamaica's 31 top-performing institutions was the second most read article for Gleaner online readers in 2017. Campion College traded places with Immaculate Conception High to be ranked first, up from second in 2016. But it was the Westmoreland-based Belmont Academy that stole the headlines. The 80-year-old public school outpaced high schools established over a century ago and made the biggest leap from 32nd in 2016 to 13th in 2017.
And nobody was following that school. I probably heard about that school 2 or 3 times, because everybody is all about the traditional high schools. It's a good look for the education system.
That for me was probably the major surprise from our readers over this year. The ranking, what the ranking didn't do was to say how many persons sat the exams, how many persons, what was a cohort that was to have sat the exam. So if in 2016 you had 50 people sitting and you had 40 of them getting A's, and in 2017 you had 20 people sitting and all 20 of them get A's, the jump in your performance is what that reflected. So I was surprised that our readers never saw the flaw in that. But the school tie is probably the biggest thing in Jamaica. You know, the school tie binds and people hang on to it. So I wasn't surprised that people would have gone for the story. I'm surprised that it figured so prominently.
And in pole position for 2017, suspended for a sex video, how a group of St. Catherine High School students were sent home over a raunchy social media challenge.
That one says sex sells. And we've learned that a long time ago, sex sells. It was youngsters being irresponsible and being teenagers. What social media has done, what the explosion of the digital media has done, is that what children did when I was a child, a couple of years ago, that we would have done it and it would not have exploded on the national scene. What robbed me is that these children were in full school uniform. At Kingston College, once you were going to even get loud on the road, you took off your school tie. The respect for the tie was such that robbed me. But it was children being children, and the debate about if the school should have suspended them or not continues to this day.
I think the school did the right thing. Suspend them. If I had the power, I would expel them.
My film might not be the most popular, but I was amazed that we would suspend students for that particular video. I was in shock because the story led me to believe that there was a lot of that it was heavy on sex or it involved sex. When I actually saw the video, I was amazed.
Every celebrity was going about doing for the D challenge. So why not join in? It's like you have a hit song, everybody is going, every teenager, it is going to be on the lips of every teenager. So, and then you have the D challenge, and everybody was doing it. Saturday did it, and they did it in their uniforms. It's a shame.
What they were doing was something that was very popular in the United States. And I have seen some of those videos myself. And I think this one was tame compared to what I have seen. I don't know if you suspend high school students for a video like this, but clearly it was something that there are strong views on both sides. There are strong views for them being suspended, and I believe there are strong views for them not being suspended. My view is that this was not something that they should have been suspended for, but it was a story that generated a lot of interest.
And that's it for the top 7 of 2017, the most read Gleaner Online stories for last year. I'm Damian Mitchell, thanking you so much for making the Gleaner Online your trusted source for yet another year. From the entire team, we wish you a very prosperous 2018.